Gig Gab, episode 503 for Monday, October 13th. International Day for Failure, folks. 2025. I know. Listen, we're setting the bar low. It's all up from here. Greetings, folks, and welcome to Gig Gab, the show by, for, and about working musicians. Our sponsor today is the Mechanical Licensing Collective, themlc.com. They're collecting all the money that you have earned from streaming royalties, and they want to pay it to you. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. For now, here in Durham, New Hampshire, I'm Dave Hamilton, and our guest co-host today is someone we're catching up with, returning to Gig Gab for his third visit since before he was on Gig Gab and in the whole interim, and certainly carrying on after today. He's been living, breathing, and championing cover band life literally for decades. If you've spent any time gigging and online, you've probably seen his post. You're probably part of his Cover Band Central Facebook group, or you've read his advice about how you get your fans more involved. He actually wrote the book on it, Get 'Em to the Show. We'll talk about that. After a 5-year gap, Steve Witschel, thank you for coming back on the show, my friend.
Thank you, Dave, for having me here.
Yeah, man.
It's a pleasure to be back on Gig Gab.
It's great to have you on Gig Gab. I don't know. I mean, I know why, because my schedule gets crazy and I just, kind of move quick. But your name, since Paul told me that he was leaving the show, which was well before he actually left the show, I started making a list of people who I could bring on as guests. And your name was like, if it wasn't the first one, it was one of the first three. It was just like, oh, well, obviously I can have Steve on. And here you are. So, it took a year and a half, but whatever.
It's okay. I remember, when Paul left and you reaching out to me and saying, hey, we're going to, we'll get together. We'll have you on the show at some point. And, I sat by my phone every day waiting for the call for the last year and a half.
I deserve that. No, that's fine.
No, but you reached out to me and recently and asked me to be, and I was thrilled. I love what you do, what you've been doing for so long, man. It's great, one of a kind out there.
Thank you. I have fun with it, as I've said many times, and that's why I keep doing it. And it's because I get to keep learning about all kinds of different things that interest me in the music world, and I know that the listeners that come to this show pretty much like to learn the same types of things, and so we're a like-minded audience. Yeah, it's good. Cover Band Central. The group, it's up to 132,000 members, and the page is at 930,000, man. Like, that's a pretty, congratulations, first of all, for that.
Thank you.
I know it's been a labor of love and passion and just a lot of effort. I'm curious. Oh, I will say something. Yes, we are both well aware that Rush has announced the fact that they're touring next year.
Yes.
We are both Rush fans,
yes.
And we will talk about this later in the episode. I am intentionally not doing it first because it would then just be an episode about Rush touring next year.
Right.
So we will get there, obviously. Just wanted to say that up front. I want to do a couple other things first to make sure we get it through it. So back to the Cover Band Central page. In addition to the simple, I'll call it, bullheaded persistence of simply not giving up, how did you grow and continue to grow the group and the page and all of that?
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely a labor of love, like you said, I haven't given up, although I have wanted to many times.
Of course. That's normal, by the way.
Yeah. But there's something driving me, and I'm not exactly sure what it is. It's something that's just in me that is making me do this and making me try to excel at it as much as I can. But what have I done? I mean, just through the years, kind of studied what other people are doing and tried to take, the best parts of those things and try to avoid the mistakes that other people make. And also just learning from my own mistakes.
I have a show called Business Brain, and we call our mistakes our tuition. So,
Yeah.
Yep, there you go.
I have to listen to that show. I saw that you have. I haven't listened to that show before, but I really need to because I really do like learning more about business, and I'm sure you impart a lot of wisdom on that.
We try.
Yeah. But so the group and the page, it's two different entities really, and they're handled different ways. And we talked about this previously.
Yeah.
But the group is a community of musicians. They come in, they provide the content. The page is me, essentially, is the admin providing the content where people can comment and share and react to that. So the group is kind of self-sustaining, really. I do things in it. A couple of years ago, I set it up so it's post-approval. Everybody's on post-approval. So
Okay.
and it's a private group, so you have to request to join. So you can't just join the group.
Got it.
And now you have to have your post approved. And I did that because of just the sheer volume of people that started to be in there and the posts that were coming up, and a lot of them just not being really relevant to the community.
Yeah.
And I felt like, okay, I really need to have control over this. And I was concerned about it at first because I thought this is going to be very labor intensive.
Oh, that was that was the question I wanted to ask. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I do really get notifications often during the day, but everybody, you always have your phone with you. I always have my phone with me, so it's pretty simple to just look at it every so often and handle it. Plus, I have 3 moderators. I used to have 7 or 8 moderators, and I just didn't need it. So I pared it down to the core 3 people that were really kind of invested in really doing a good job with it, and they do, and they don't. I don't pay them. They're doing it voluntarily, and they do a great job, and it's really very easy kind of to run the group. And you've been a part of it for so long, Dave. And I gotta say too, dude, it warms my heart every time I see you in there. Every time I see Dave Hamilton's name come up on whether it's a comment or a reaction to something, I just feel like it feels validating to me because I really hold you in high regard. Everything that you've accomplished, and just the fact that you're a part of it and you're still a part of it and you contribute to it, to me makes it legitimizes it a bit more.
Well, thank you for saying that. The feeling is extremely mutual. I hold you in high regard too, and I am honored and appreciative of being a member of the group. Folks, if you are in a cover band, especially, but even if you're in an original band, like the conversations for the most part are just about being in a band, right? It's and playing live music. And if that's what you do and you're not a part of that group, join it. It's really like, it's a Facebook group, folks. There's sometimes trolls. I have to give you and your moderators credit, Steve. You do an amazing job of keeping that at a far lower level than pretty much everywhere else on Facebook. But the conversations are really helpful and insightful, and I learn a lot, even sometimes from the trolls. I asked a question last year, maybe earlier this year. I can't remember. It was earlier this year because we were talking about it on the show. I want an app for my iPad that will not just run a click, but also run tracks. I just don't want to bring a laptop with me, right, to a gig, but I want to be able to run tracks. And so I asked in the group, is there anything? How are people doing this? And it's like many of the answers were, just get a drummer. You don't need a click. And it's like, okay, like this post wasn't for you, but I get that mentality. Like it's fine. I also get that it's Facebook and people can be, snarky and you get those off the cuff comments and it's fine. But it's like, okay, well, that whatever, like, sure. But for those of us that are choosing to use a click, even drummers, like, how are you doing it? And I learned a ton, and we shared the results on the show. Like, it's super valuable. Yeah, so I love it. So anyway, yeah.
I appreciate you saying that about moderating, and it's interesting that it was harder to moderate at like 60,000 than it is at 132,000, and I think because we just came up with a system, and also maybe because the community itself moderates itself.
Yes.
people that have been there for a long time recognize trolls right away and will report a post, report a comment, and we get that notification and we take it, take care of it right away. Plus, I have keywords set up and I get moderation alerts. So I have a dozen or so keywords that will set off an alarm, and as soon as I see that, I go in and I handle it. So
sure,
I mean, it's essential to me to have it well moderated and have it be a valuable resource. It's really, dude, it's really an encyclopedia at this point of information.
That's true.
Because if you go in and use the search function for anything, any keywords that you're looking for information about, you're going to find a post about it. You're going to find comments about it. I can't imagine what the number is of posts that have been there since I started this 12 years ago.
Yeah.
But it's got to be, in the tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands.
If not more. Oh, that would be an interesting number just to know. Yeah, that's right. Huh. Yeah, no, it really, you're right. It is an encyclopedia that is well supported, right? If somebody shares an idea, somebody else will say, okay, well, great. It works for that. I found it doesn't work for this. For this, I do a different thing. And it really fleshed out. Like, the conversations are great. I've learned a ton. I continue to learn a ton. So
yeah, I love it. Me too. And I feel humbled by it because I don't know everything. I'm just the guy that came up with this idea and did it, but there's people in there that are just so good that, if you watch any of the videos people put up of their bands or just players and stuff, and there's people that are so good, and I'm just, I'm blown away by it myself. I'm like, wow, this is my group. These people are coming and being part of my group. Wow, that's, it's very humbling. But then the page you talk about, the page is my content. What I was doing in the beginning was just curating content. We talked about that on our earlier podcast. And in the last really kind of 2 or 3 years, I started just creating original content. So, memes and things like that.
Yeah.
And the reason is I was invited to a bonus program by Meta, by Facebook.
Okay.
In I want to say 2 years ago. So around this time 2 years ago. And at the time I was still kind of using mix of curated content and original content. And I felt like, well, okay, if they're going to be paying me, it really needs to be authentically just my stuff. I really wanted to have some integrity with it and not take other people's stuff and make money off of other people's creativity. So I really kind of got into just creating new kinds of content, all sorts of different methods I use, and I still do it. And it's, if you're scrolling through the page now, and it's, so there you go. Drummer jokes.
Drummer jokes. Oh, this is perfect. Let me see if there's anything here I haven't seen before. Yes, I've seen them all. But but the one that I had forgotten about is, how do you get a drummer off your porch? You pay for the pizza. Love that.
Pizza.
Yeah. But my favorite drummer joke of all time remains the final one in the thing that you posted here. And we're recording this on the 7th of October. It comes out on the 13th. But it's, how can you tell if the stage is level? The drummer drools out of both sides of his mouth. That's my favorite one. So
I love drummers. I'm a bass player, but I love poking fun at drummers. But
of course,
but because I love drummers so much, being a bass player, I'm a closet drummer. I really wish.
There you go.
I would love to play drums one day, but
I'd love to play bass someday. I mean, and it makes sense that you would have the reciprocating thought, right? Like, because you spend so much time locking in together that you learn a lot about the other instrument without even playing it. For sure. Like, I bet you'd make a pretty good drummer at this point in your career. You're probably not gonna whip out some real technical stuff and execute it perfectly, and neither am I. But but like, you understand the gig, right? That's a huge part of it. And it's similar with a bass player. We I'm in the midst of rehearsing the album Thriller for a show that we're doing on the 16th, on Thursday night after this comes out. My friend Stu Diaz, who was on the show recently, he has a thing that he calls Diaspora Radio, where once a month he puts a band together to play an album and only the album at a show. And it usually these things sell out. It's a club that holds maybe 300 people, the Press Room down in Portsmouth. And he puts together the band he chooses for each thing. I've done several of them with him. I've talked about it on the show. I did Marvin Gaye's "What's Going On." I did Talking Heads, Speaking in Tongues. We did Fleetwood Mac "Rumors." Yeah, and now we're doing Thriller, or I'm doing Thriller with him. Again, this happens every month. But that material is way more difficult than I thought, because it's intricate. I mean, half the songs are like Toto playing so you got to like all those tough grooves.
Right.
But it has to be a dance party. Like right. Like that album, musically it's good. Lyrically, it's kind of weak. But it's a party all the way through. And that's what it right. needs to be. And we were playing Human Nature last night at rehearsal, which to me, it's not the fastest groove on the record. "Wanna Be Starting Something" is like, for my right foot on the kick drum, is a ridiculous thing. But Human Nature is it's just the first thing I wrote on my chart as I was going through it is "play with soft hands, Dave," because it's got to be this like buttery groove. And our bass player decided to play a bass synth for it to get a smoother sound with less attack.
Okay.
And it was like, we played through it and maybe stopped somewhere at the beginning of the second verse. And it was like, what's going on? And I turned to him and I'm like, I don't know what to lock in with now, right? Because I'm used to locking in with a bass player, and the bass line does not match the drums. And I realized, it's the guitar is playing this like arpeggiated thing throughout. That's what locks in rhythmically with the drums, is the guitar. And it's like the bass is its own like thing off in left field. But once we finally, started listening to the right things in the right way and playing, I actually changed the drum groove entirely, but that's okay. It was like, okay, that's how this song is going to work. Great. Got it. But I rehearsed that song like crazy. I worked out all the sticking for being able to play. Like Jeff Porcaro's playing two drum parts at once. He recorded them at separate times, but you hear them simultaneously. And so it's like, how do I play one version of Jeff Porcaro? That's difficult enough. Now, how do I play two? But I worked out some stickings got it really smooth. And then halfway through playing it at rehearsal, I was like, yeah, I'm going to change everything about the way I'm playing this because just because it's going to fit better.
Yeah,
But it was weird not to have that comfort of just, okay, me and the bass player are going to lock in, and then everything else kind of happens on top of us. It's like, yeah, no.
So do you, as a drummer, because me as a bass player, I think of myself as a drummer. Like I'm playing the drums on bass.
Right.
That's how I kind of think. And I learned that very young. Like, how do you lock in with that kick drum? Oh, you are the kick drum. I am the kick drum on the bass. So do you, as a drummer, do you subconsciously lock in with the bass? Do you think about the bass part, or do you just kind of do your own thing and not worry about it?
That's an interesting question. I've never intentionally thought about this, but I've thought about it, right? Because it happens every time. I am thinking of myself locking in with everyone, but with different pieces of the kit. So the kick drum is absolutely the thing that locks in with the bass player. The snare drum often fits with the bass player too. I would say though that the snare drum, I'm more thinking about how the snare drum and the vocals fit together, which I know sounds strange, but that's just like, that's where it comes for me. So my left hand is thinking about the vocalist on the snare drum. My right foot is thinking about the bass for sure, like 100%. And you're right. I'm like playing the bass with my right foot. When it works right, I hit the bass note with my right foot, and I hear it come out, and it's like, oh yeah, we're locked in. Like, this is good,
Right.
you know.
Oh, it's such a good feeling, isn't it?
Oh God, it's so good. Especially when the room is tuned right and the kick drum and the bass are right in the subs, and you hit that and you hear it, but you feel it in just the right way. It's like I'm playing the room as an instrument, not just my drum as an instrument, right?
Wow, that's a cool way to think of it. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't always happen, but when it does, it's like, oh, it's like butter. But
Oh, yeah, beautiful.
my right hand, I'm thinking more of the chordal instruments like the guitar and the piano, if there's a piano player, those kinds of things. My right hand on cymbals especially is that. But if there's a piano player, now my right and left hand are together with that. I'm playing piano with my drums. Like, I mean, again, hopefully not overplaying, but yeah, so it kind of moves around, but I definitely am, you're right. What you said about you're playing the drums with your bass, I'm thinking of it the same way. I'm playing all the other instruments with my drums. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I am the drums. That's how I feel.
I like that.
I am the
Yeah.
drums. And then when my drummer screws up,
Yeah.
then I say, look, I did it right. I played the drums on bass. You gotta play it right on
I
bass.
had it right. That's a really, no, I like that way of thinking of it though, because that really puts you inside it and locks it in. Yeah.
Yeah, because when I started as a young player, I was trying, and the first time I was in the studio, and I was recording, and the engineer was saying, "You're behind the kick. You're behind it." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I'm listening to the kick and I'm playing along with the kick. And then I went to a concert around that time. It was Dio and Dokken. It was 1988. I believe it was 88. And I remember, and I wasn't the kind of kid at concerts that I was getting all hammered and partying and stuff.
Same.
I would stand there and just study what's going on stage, like even before when they're setting up, like what's that guy doing? Where's and so Dokken is on there, and I'm somewhat back in the arena, but I'm Jeff Pilson, the bass player, and I'm like, it sounded to me like the kick was making the bass happen, and I'm like, and I'm sitting there watching, I'm like, how is that possible? And it just occurred to me right there. I was like, oh, he is the kick on bass. He's not following the kick. He's not trying to, he is the kick. So that they are together. They are married. And from then on, I was like, I knew how to play in the studio. Like, oh, okay, be the drums.
What a moment. I love that. That's great. I'm like you. When I go to a concert, it is school for me. I am learning as much as I can. I mean, certainly I've been to concerts where I've had, more beer, whatever, than I wanted to. But like, I don't like it. I generally am 100% sober at concerts. I just like to, and that's not a judgment on anyone else. Obviously I play music for people who, at bars, for people who are enjoying alcohol or getting high or whatever. Mm-hmm. And within moderation, as long as you're controlling yourself, I love that for everybody. But it's not for me. I want to be present, and I want to like catch everything.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. Where are we here? You know what I want to do? We have a lot to talk about. I want to talk about what you've been playing. We're going to talk about Rush, and I actually want to circle back to the page too and monetization. But while we're thinking about monetization, I wanted to take a minute and talk about our sponsor, which is the Mechanical Licensing Collective, right? So if you're a songwriter, a music publisher, or an administrator, you need to know about this. It's the Mechanical Licensing Collective, or as they like to abbreviate it, the MLC at themlc.com. They're a nonprofit that's changing the way how creators get paid for their mechanical streaming royalties from platforms like Apple Music or Spotify here in the U.S. The way they do it, every month, the MLC collects all the streaming data and royalties from these platforms. They were created as part of a bill that was passed in the government, right? Like they are the ones that do this. And we had Dave Bogan from the MLC on a couple of months ago on the show explaining all of it. But they collect all of this stuff, and then they match that money to the creator who earned it, aka you, right? And then what do? Well, they pay you, and they've paid out more than $3 billion in total royalties to more than 55,000 members worldwide. They're already making a huge impact. And the best part, membership costs you nothing, folks. This is about you getting paid, not you paying them. So don't leave your money on the table. Go visit themlc.com, THEMLC.com. Sign up today. And they might already just have a pile of money waiting for you on songs that you haven't collected yet. So what are you waiting for? TheMLC.com. Go there. And our thanks to the MLC for doing what they do and for being a sponsor of today's episode. So go check them out.
Love that.
I do too. It's like when they came on board as a sponsor, I didn't quite understand what they were. And then when I had Day on the show, it was like, oh, I see. Okay. Like, yeah, it's pretty amazing. Yeah. Speaking of money, if it's okay to ask, are you able to get some monetization out of, I'm assuming the page would probably be the monetization source on Facebook more than the group. And it sounds like you've joined Facebook's creators program at some level. So I'm hoping that you're like able to draw some income from that.
Yeah, like I mentioned before, when I was first invited to it, it was a bonus program.
Yes, right.
And I was really doing very well. In the first few months, I made like a lot of money, and at least a lot of money for me. And I was thrilled by that. And I'm like, all right, this is great. It's something I've been doing already for 10 years almost, and now they're going to pay me for it. Like, okay, this is great. Yeah. And then it peaked at a certain amount, and then it started to kind of go down.
Sure.
And then I got dinged probably about 5 months into it for some sort of content that went against their guidelines.
Community standards.
Yeah, community standards, yeah. And the thing was, they didn't tell me what it was. They didn't tell me what post it was. So, yeah, I know. So I'm left like scratching my head trying to figure it out. And I didn't know. So
yeah, it's hard. It's hard to solve a problem when you don't know what the problem is. Yeah,
and that's the one of the frustrating things with Facebook. But so I figured, okay, well, that was fun while it lasted, but then it's gone. So I just kept doing what I was doing, and just went back to the regular posting schedule. And then 3 months later, I just happened to be on my phone and looking at it, and it was like bonus amount earned, and I'm like, wait, what? And so I go and look, and I'm back in the bonus program. They didn't tell me. They didn't send me an email, call me up, knock on my door, say, hey, guess what? You're out of jail now. You can come back in and do your thing. It just happened. So I guess there was just
maybe there was a 90-day penalty. Is what it sounds
period.
like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So then I was like, okay, this is great. I'm back in it. So then I really focused on, okay, I got to create new content. That's what's gonna drive it. And the pay, and I'm still in it. And
great.
Now they changed it. They call it the content monetization program.
Okay.
So before it was just images that they were like memes that they would pay you for, and now it's videos, reels, memes, all of it together. So which is good.
Yeah, right. Well, they got to compete with YouTube, right? I mean, that's a part
TikTok,
of it anyway.
Yeah,
and TikTok, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So I haven't gotten up to that nearly the amount I was making before, not even close. But I think I can. It's just most of my content is images, memes, and I really need to get more videos out there. And it's just a matter of dedicating the time to sit and create new content with videos, because everybody knows now video is king with reels and TikTok and YouTube Shorts and everything. It's video and from what I understand, they pay better for video than they do for memes. So that's my task in front of me as we move on. But it's great that they do compensate creators now.
I agree. Oh yeah, no, it's good. They invited me to their program. a couple of years ago.
Okay.
What I make from it, I don't do a lot on Facebook. Candidly, I was surprised that they invited me, but I do get a check every month, and it's it's like, all right, well, I can, buy some more sticks and drum heads and things like that. I mean, it's it's like it's better. I'm not doing anything with the intent of making money, at least not yet, right, on Facebook. So anything that I post is stuff that I would just naturally post anyway. And so to get a little bit of money for it, because there are people that engage with me, it's like, oh, okay, great. Like, I'll take it. Like, obviously. Yeah.
And there's other ways of monetizing that I've explored. One is getting clients to advertise through me as a partner. And that's something that works well because anytime you try to sell something, or at least me anyway, but most people I'm sure, you put up something with an external link on Facebook and it gets pathetic reach because Facebook does not want you to go off of Facebook.
They don't want you to leave. Right.
Especially if you're selling something. But if you use the business suite and you go in and set up a ad campaign, then you're going to get reach. You're going to hit the right people. So I started doing it probably about a year and a half or so ago, and just learning how to do it, and then bringing on clients, people who have a product or service that musicians want or need, and setting up campaigns for them so it shows up Cover Band Central with whatever the name of the company is. And it doesn't show up on my page. It doesn't show up in the group. It shows up on people's news feeds. Like if you're scrolling a news feed, you see like a post, an ad, a post, an ad.
Right.
So that's the way they deliver it. And they have a lot of different placements you do through Meta, and they do placements on Instagram and Facebook. So it's in stories, it's in Reels, it's in Messenger, it's in the sidebar, it's in the newsfeed. They spread it out, and they know who to deliver it to. They know people's behaviors.
Yeah.
And so it works very effectively. So that's a way I've been monetizing too, where I bring on clients, I set up the campaign for them, and I target the Cover Band Central audience, which nobody else can do.
Nobody can do, only you. Okay, so let me. I want to just encapsulate this and sort of regurgitate it because I want to make sure I understand it and we all understand it. So you are bringing on a client. I'm gonna say Shure Microphones, and I'm pulling that out of thin air. I have no idea if you've worked with them. Doesn't matter. But okay, great. So Shure Microphones, you strike a deal with them, and they're going to pay you. I know none of the finances of this, so I'm just pulling money out of thin air. So I'm going to say they're going to pay you $1,000 to promote Shure Microphones via this method that you just described. Mm-hmm. So now you're starting with $1,000. You go into Facebook and you buy, say, $100 worth of ads on Facebook that you're going to have. The ad is going to be content from Cover Band Central that says we've partnered with Shure and you should go buy their microphones and all this stuff. And then you make the delta, right? You're buying Facebook ads essentially on behalf of your clients and letting them target your audience because you have that audience. Is that right?
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Great. That's smart business right there. A lot of people might think the best thing to do is take Shure's $1,000 and put posts just on the page. But to your point, ain't nobody going to see those because Facebook's algorithm says you need to pay us so people see these. Right. But that's fine. Like, okay, there you go. Yeah. Just following their rules. It's not your rules. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, companies spend millions of dollars a year, in the hundreds of millions of dollars. I saw a number. I don't remember what it was, but it was close to $1 billion.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe it was more on just advertising and trying to reach their target audience, which is why you see beer commercials during a football game and, whatever. I mean, they're trying to find the right audience to get their products. So
right.
I have a very specific niche audience of musicians. So it really is a gold mine for anybody who has a product or service geared towards musicians. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I have one of the biggest audiences of musicians on Facebook, if not
that's the reality. That's not tooting. I mean, there's nothing wrong with tooting your own horn, right? Like,
Thanks, Dave.
There's a time and a place, and this is it. But and when you're selling advertising, that's also a good time and place to toot your own horn, right? I mean, you've created this. It is a thing, and people aren't necessarily going to know about it until you tell them. So yeah, it's great to toot your own horn. And I would agree with you as someone that uses Facebook, as a musician that uses Facebook. I don't think there's anything as big as what you've got here. So yeah, it makes sense, man. It's great.
Yeah. So that's another way of monetizing. And then I have the ebook. I know you wanted to talk about that a little bit. So,
I do. Yeah. Where are we on time here? Okay. I wanted to kind of circle back to video to ask a perhaps polarizing question. But as you're creating video, and really as you're creating all this content, but I know, there's now a friction point where you have to invest the time to create video and all of that stuff. What are your feelings on using AI as an assistant to create any content? Like Sora for video, of course, comes to mind because it's top of mind. But even the original content that you're putting out as text, there are, in my opinion, very legitimate ways of using AI to, again, be your writing assistant while creating, polishing, editing that content. But those are my thoughts. I don't want to put words in your mouth. How do you feel about that? It's okay if you feel differently.
No, I don't. I love AI, and I have a lot of friends who don't, and especially artist friends who feel like they got a lot of work taken away from them, and I understand it very much. But I also understand, like, technology just advances. You have to kind of roll with it, and there's no stopping it. It's just, the cat's out of the bag. It's AI.
This Pandora's box ain't closing.
Exactly. And I really always embrace change and embrace technology. So I use ChatGPT all the time. I use it almost every day for various things.
Yep.
I hate doing finances. I hate making spreadsheets. Go into chat and just say, hey, can you make me a spreadsheet for this? Boom, done.
I find any of these generative AIs, ChatGPT, Claude, or your Perplexity, one of my favorite use cases for them is like getting over writer's block. And it does, I don't just mean when writing, but when getting over procrastination, right? When starting a project that you're like, where do I even start with this? Ask ChatGPT that question. And even better, ask ChatGPT to start it for you. Ask Claude to start it for you. Ask Perplexity to start it for you. You will, if it comes up with something terrible, guess what? You're already started, because now your brain is thinking about, well, I got to fix that terrible idea it came up with. And now you're in. The procrastination is over. You're welcome. You're good to go, right? Like, it doesn't have to just be the end all be all, but it's a great assistant. And it is not always an accurate assistant, but it is a reliable assistant, because it's there for you at 3 a.m. if you want it to be.
Yeah, it never complains. It never says, you already asked me that.
Right. I already fixed this for you 4 times. You wanted to do it a 5th? Yeah. And probably a 10th. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it wants to please you. It's like a dumb dog. It's just always there. Like,
it's always there.
It's always there. And, I use it to make images sometimes. And I do catch some grief for that on the page where things are clearly AI. And there's some things that I put up that I made in AI that are not clearly AI. So
sure,
it's only the obvious ones where, I don't know, where the hands don't look right, or the car doesn't look right, and people call it AI slop, and people get on my case for that on the page sometimes.
Sure.
So I try to limit it. I try to limit it as much as I can, but I do like using it a lot. I like AI a lot.
Same. I have been using it basically since the day it came out in December of whatever 3 years ago. Yeah. And what I've learned, though, is like creating episode images for the show. It's awesome for that. Mm-hmm. However, I've learned to ask whoever my guest co-host is for the episode if they are okay with their episode image being generated by AI, because the last thing I want is them to be uncomfortable with some aspect of what we created together. Right. But otherwise, I use it to create the show notes. And again, I'm editing what it creates, but man, it's just so much easier and more
really
efficient.
Is, man.
Yeah.
It's made work so much easier in a lot of ways, but I'm okay with it, Dave. So if you want to do that for me for this episode,
okay.
Sure,
well,
okay with it.
The other thing that I've learned, though, is people, have told when I put the AI images out and I think, oh, I'm super clever, like I created this great image, I get feedback from folks saying, I kind of like it though when I get to in the episode image see the face of the person that I'm listening to, and it's like, oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, okay, fine, I'll just do that. so I don't know. It's like it's how it is.
I love that. It's great. Yeah,
it's great.
I mean, with music though, it's a whole different thing, and there was that band a couple months ago. The name escapes me. That was selling on or Spotify was getting a ton of plays.
Yeah.
Do you remember the name?
I don't remember, but I mean I remember the incident. Yeah.
It was just a complete AI generated band, and they had 2 albums out, and they were coming out with another. That's ridiculous. And people sniffed that out super quick, and I don't see a Terminator situation where the AI is going to take over the music business. It's just not going to happen.
No. The Velvet Sundown was the name of the band.
Yeah,
Yep.
And Rick Beato did a thing on it too. And
well, I mean, listen, someone was behind that. Right? A human was prompting the AI to create all of this, right? Like, I mean, it wasn't just the AI didn't just decide one day to create a band and create music and publish it on Spotify. A human was there using this tool to then create something on the other end. Was that tool AI? 100%. Is that necessarily bad? And my answer, and everybody can have a different answer, is not necessarily. If the end product was good and people liked it, well, I mean, there's going to be AI created music that's terrible that no one's going to want to listen to. Also, great lesson learned, right? There's human created music that's terrible that no one wants to listen to too.
That's true.
Right? To me, it's just a tool, and it reminds me of when Photoshop came out.
Right.
And I know this is like old man Dave talking, but when Photoshop came out, the graphic artist world was like, this is going to be the end, yada, yada, yada. It literally, in some cases, saying verbatim what is being said about AI right now. Like, this is going to ruin the industry. We have to, we got to work against it and all this stuff. And, of course, now any graphic designer worth their salt uses Photoshop or some tools similar to it to get their job done. And I think that will also happen with... I know that is also already happening with AI, and I think it will become normalized eventually.
Yeah, I agree with you. We're on the same page here.
Yeah.
With this, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Let's talk about your ebook, and then yes, we'll talk about Rush. So you've got this ebook that you put out last year. Get them to the show: How to Beat the Facebook Algorithm and Successfully Promote Your Gigs Online. Yeah. So I think everybody would love this book, and I will put a link in the show notes so you can go get it. Talk about this a little bit, maybe share a tip or two. We'll wet some whistles here if you don't mind.
Okay, yeah. I got this idea because of posts in the group where people coming in and, especially before they were on post approval,
right?
It was showing up on the news feed where, hey, I'm playing at Joe's Tavern this Friday. And those kind of posts every day, like a dozen or so or more of them every day. And that is not the right audience to promote your show. It is a worldwide group of musicians. Those are not the people that are going to come to your show.
Right.
So I felt like, okay, this is something that needs to really be addressed. And it still happens today, every single day, Dave. There's dozens of people that come in and try to promote their upcoming show.
Why? I mean, I know the answer. They don't know how to do it better. So this is what they do.
They don't know how to do it better. And
yet,
I come from a sales background, and I'm a internet computer geek too.
Yep.
So I learned how to do this early on, and evidenced by what I've done with Cover Band Central. I know how to grow a page.
Clearly.
So I wanted to put it into a book. So I spent a little bit of time just writing it, and I did not have AI write it. I wrote it.
That's fair. There you go. Yeah.
But I did have AI help me kind of get an outline of what I want to say. So I went into chat and I said, here's what I want to say. And I wrote, a long paragraph or a couple long paragraphs of what I want to convey to people. And then it we broke it down together. Me and AI, me and chat, we broke it down.
That's what I'm saying.
Together.
It's a great assistant. Yeah.
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 And then, so now I have an outline. So now I go in and I write it, and I wrote it, myself. I didn't.
Yeah.
I was done with chat at that point because I wanted to be my voice. So a couple of tips from that. One of the things I do in the beginning is debunk some myths, and one of them is that you can overpost. Like you might be bothering people by posting too much, and that is just a complete myth. And I'll tell you a story that happened very recently after I wrote the book. I use Buffer to schedule my posts on the page ahead of time, way ahead of time.
Yep.
And it's very, very reliable. But there was one thing that happened like a month or so ago where it took a post and it put it up 5 times in a row. Just like boom, 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 the same post. And I didn't see it until later in the day because I was playing.
Yep.
And so I come back and I look at it, and then I'm like, and I wish I screenshotted it. I didn't. But the same exact post 5 times in a row, and each one had engagement from different people.
Of course it did.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I say that only because I have learned this lesson too, right?
Yeah.
Like, yep, of course it did. Yeah.
Yeah. So, people that say like, I don't want to post too much. No, that's BS. You post as much as you can because you're never going to reach the same people. People are not always on their phone at the same time, in front of their computer at the same time. Online, some people check in once a week, and they might not.
Yes.
They might not see it at all. So post as much as you can. Don't be shy about that.
We had Jack McCarthy on the show just a couple of weeks ago. He runs a business called Indepreneur that helps musicians market their stuff. Right, either coaches them or they have an agency that'll do it too. It depends on what level of service you want. And he talked. He also gave some tips and tricks, and so I'll put a link in that episode for everybody to listen to if you didn't hear it, 501. But one of the things he said that really is a great way to encapsulate what you just said. Really is, it's not a movie; it's a parade, and not everybody sees everything that goes by.
Ooh, I like that analogy.
Right? So no, he's a smart dude too. Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah.
So that's something to keep in mind. And another thing from the book, I would say, and this ties back into my philosophy with my posts on the page, you have to cater to people's emotions. You have to put up something that's going to get an emotional response.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean sad. That could mean sad. It could mean mad. It could mean happy. Something that makes somebody laugh is an emotional response.
Yes.
You need to do that. You need to key in on people's emotions and not manipulate, but just think about genuine emotions that people would feel based on something that's genuine about you. So that's what you want to think about when you're coming up with your posts for your band. Come up with things that are funny, that are sentimental, stuff that makes people feel. That's what makes people engage, is when they feel something. That's when they'll comment. That's when they'll like it. That's when they'll share it, when they feel something. If they're laughing their ass off, they're going to share it. Oh, my friends will love this.
Yes.
That's how you grow your page.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because people put up, hey, we're playing this weekend. Okay.
Why do I want to come see you?
Right.
Yes.
Why should I come see you? Tell me something. Oh, well, Tommy just had his colonoscopy. Oh, now that's funny. And now it's something that you go and you see Tommy and say, hey.
How was your colonoscopy? Yeah, that's right. Did you have a nice nap? Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Share something personal. Share something. There's always something to celebrate, like you just put at the top of the show about failure. What is it? Failure Day or something?
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's International Day for Failure. That's right.
Every day, there's a thing called, I think it's called Check a Day, where every day you can see something that is celebrated.
Yes,
it's National Hamburger Day or whatever.
Oh, that's how I get all of these. I go to National. In fact, go to the Gig Gab show notes and click on whatever the National Day thing that I put there is, and it will bring you to the site that I use to find these. There's probably, I don't know, anywhere between 10 and 30 per day of these holidays that people have just registered. And you know what? Now that I'm saying it, I need to create an International Gig Gab Day.
Sure.
Because I can, and so can you. You could create one for your band, folks. So create a day for yourself.
Yeah,
create
why
a
not?
holiday. Yes.
Nobody's telling you can't. And
no.
And, it just takes things like that to help get interest in your band. So you're playing Friday and it's National French Fry Day. Just say, oh, we're going to have half off French fries during the first set at this restaurant that we're playing. Anything. There's so many possibilities. You just use your imagination a little bit of creativity, and there you go. That gets engagement. That gets your page growing. That gets more people to your shows ultimately, and more better gigs and more money.
All the things. One tip that I will restate here in this episode is come up with content that you can post in between your shows. Like something that you want to post about when your shows are happening, but you also want people to want to follow your page to make your band relevant in their lives, even when they're not at one of your shows. So it could be clips from a recent show, right? Like little bits of that kind of content, but it also can just be stupid stuff about Tommy's colonoscopy. Like all of those things, like just choose which parts you want to live in public, but live your band's life in public and people will latch onto you. Think about the bands that you love and what do you want? You want to learn more about like the inside baseball of that band. Of course you do. Your fans want the same thing from you. And if you give it to them, they will become deeper and deeper fans and eventually they'll be super fans.
Yeah, that is absolutely the way.
Yeah.
And it's not hard. It's not, Dave. I mean, you and we grew up where we didn't have internet to promote
posters,
our shows.
Man. Mail, like literally postcards and posters.
Flyers.
Postcards and posters. Yeah, right. Flyers. Yeah.
And we didn't have phones to take pictures and videos. It's never been easier in history to get content. So, when you're loading out, or when you're loading into gigs, somebody films somebody carrying things.
That's brilliant.
Just little conversations backstage if you have a backstage. Anything like just little minutia that happen in the band life at rehearsal. Anything, and you can manipulate them with videos. You can speed things up. You can slow them down. You can add things to. I mean, it's never been easier. And so it blows my mind that people aren't doing this all the time. And that's what I suggest too in the book. It's like take pictures all the time, take video all the time. At the worst case scenario, you're going to have some really cool memories on your phone.
That's the worst. That's right.
Best case scenario, you got some content right there.
Absolutely.
That you can divide it up in between gigs. And I actually made a master kit based on the book that I just put out a couple months ago. And it's I have a bunch of video tutorials to show people how to do things. I made like checklists. I made a content calendar with a legend where you can easily kind of plug in what kind of post you want to put on each day. So you put like a V for a video, a P for a picture, and just like anecdote, whatever. And so that's available too. And I could send you the link for that. I don't think I did send you the link for that, but
okay. Send it along. I'll happily.
It's based on the book, but it's a deeper dive into it.
Nice. Well, I've got a link for the book in the show notes. It's $10, folks. It's one of the best $10 investments you will ever make. And even if, and you don't, but even if you know everything that Steve has put in the book, reading it is going to reinforce and allow you to start setting some habits. And so spend the $10 and you will make it back. I guarantee that you will make it back. If you don't come to me, I'll give you your $10 back. Steve gets to keep his money. I'm gonna back this guarantee. I don't know what this is going to cost me, but we'll see. I know something that is going to cost me though. And that is that Rush is touring in 2026. I don't know if you've heard yet.
I've heard.
Yeah. We have, for everyone's, just to level set, Steve and I, other than me asking Steve if he was a Rush fan and wanted to talk about this in the show, we do not know one another's opinions on this. So I am we're all learning this together. I am very curious. And this is, by the way, we're recording this basically 24 hours after the announcement came out. So tickets haven't even gone on sale yet. So just now the stage is set. What are your thoughts on this, Steve?
I love the way they did this, the way they shot a video, Alex and Getty, having this conversation and really very candidly talking about where they are in their lives and how they feel about the music and how they felt about kind of getting together and jamming. Just super honest and kind of like we were just talking about. What do you want to see in your favorite bands? That's what you want to see. We already celebrate the music. We already know it, but now we want to see how are these guys feeling right now? Neil died a couple years ago, a few years ago.
5 years ago.
5 years ago.
It was 2020.
Oh,
it was
goodness.
it was the first bad thing that happened in 2020.
Oh boy.
In my opinion.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, it was because it was January 10th that we found out. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, the consensus was like nobody can replace Neil Peart. That's not going to happen. So that's it. Rush is done. So to see an announcement like this, it brought so much joy to an otherwise kind of dismal world right now, and just seeing it constantly on my newsfeed and seeing the announcement and then seeing people react to it again brought joy to me. I'm a huge Rush fan. I've seen him many times in concert, and I'm not certain that I'll go see it because they're not playing anywhere
Near
near
you.
me.
Sure.
But they are playing at the Garden, so I thought maybe I could take a trip up to New York and go to the Garden. But good for this girl, Anika. I saw a couple videos of her playing drums. She's fantastic. And it just goes to show you, Dave, that you do well. You work on your craft. You get out there. You play with people as much as possible. You have fun. You never know what could happen.
You don't. That's the thing, right? And I was aware of Anika Nilles. I believe Getty pronounced it Anika Nilles. I thought it was Nilles, but I'll go with Getty's pronunciation. I had seen her in videos of Jeff Beck playing live and was always impressed with her playing. I'm getting way deep into this. I'm not even wading in here now. By the way, I agree with you. I'm excited about this. I know I have some friends who are very much against all of this, and I respect that. They say Rush it doesn't exist without Neil Peart. They should call this Getty and Alex, touring with friends. I respect that opinion. I do not share it. I am so excited about this, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. I'm happier about this than I ever expected I would be. But talking about Anika and just the idea of someone playing drums with Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson playing Rush music, and touring as that, I'm super glad that they did not pick one of the fantastic drummers that we know about, who grew up a fan of Rush, studied Peart's parts, embodied Peart, and made it a part of their career. And I'm talking about people like a Mike Portnoy, right? And or why can't I think of the guy's name that was in Why Not but isn't now anymore? Josh, I think his name's Josh. Oh man, it'll come to me. But there are plenty of drummers out there. Danny Carey might fall into this group-ish. He's not quite there. But the people that are the obvious choice of, if you called them right now, Joel Stevenette is the other one I'm thinking of. He was in Why Not for a hot minute, but he is like, if Rush said we are playing tonight and we aren't going to have a rehearsal, we just need to give you a set list and you got to be able to play it. Like, there are people like that, and Mike Portnoy and Joel Stevenette are two of many in this group that are seasoned, capable, rehearsed on their own, and ready to go. To me, that would have been awkward, I think, because I've had that thought over the years. Well, it's like, well, Portnoy could join Rush and play these songs, but it'd be like, okay, like he's spent his career emulating Neil and evolving that. Of course, I don't mean to say but it's obvious that that's where he started. And so I'm glad they didn't go that route. I'm glad they picked someone. I have no idea if Anika Nilles is or was a Rush fan. I have no idea if, how she came into their rehearsals. Did she need to rehearse or practice at all, or did she know him? I don't know, because she's never talked about it. There's nothing online one way or the other about it. She's certainly capable of playing Neil Peart parts. My only concern, and it's a curiosity more than a concern, is and this is coming from someone. Neil Peart, I don't think you can see the Neil Peart picture that is like hanging next to my drums right over there. But Neil's always looking at me while I play my drums here in the studio. My kids got me this picture. It's awesome. Neil was the first drummer that I really latched onto in a meaningful way. And therefore, the meaning is amplified because his parts, their music, his lyrics, were kind of the bedrock that got me through those awkward teen years that everybody has, right? Mm-hmm. So this, I say this as a curiosity. Anika Nilles has all of the technical ability and more than is required to play Rush songs. That is super obvious. She also has a much deeper groove and feel than Neil Peart ever displayed, and certainly than he ever played with Rush songs. And so I'm curious, even if she were to take a song like, say, The Spirit of Radio, and play it note for note, like if I don't know how her reading chops are, but if she had never heard the song before, you put the sheet music in front of her and say, go, and she played it exactly as written, it's going to sound different than Neil.
Oh, of course.
Like very different. There's going to be a deeper pocket in those grooves in the verse and the chorus. And so I'm curious to see what Rush with Geddy and Alex sounds like with someone with it's got to be at least a slightly different feel.
Absolutely. Yeah. You change one person, it's going to change kind of the whole big picture. And that happens in any band. In any band. Yeah. Right. And it's okay. It is the practical reality of Geddy and Alex want to play. They want to play.
So they can't have Neil. It's not even like they broke up with him or something. You can't have him. So
yeah, and to me, Dave, it's really a celebration of the music, and that's what these guys want to do. They want to celebrate the music and celebrate it with the fans, and fans love this, of course, because the fans love the music. And to me, that's my approach with cover bands and playing cover songs. It's about celebrating the songs. It's about celebrating the music itself. And, Anika's coming in playing it. She's playing like a cover band, like she would be in a cover band. You're coming in.
I would assume.
You got to play the parts. You got to play them right.
Yep.
She didn't write them. She's just coming in and playing the parts. And it's the same approach that you would have in any cover band. If you're, a good musician and you have some integrity and you want to go in and do a good job, same thing. It's no different. You just go in, you learn your parts, you work on your craft, you do your best you can.
Yep.
There it is.
That's it.
And
That's it. Yeah.
The fact that she's a woman too, I have heard some people kind of, draw on about that, but good for her and good for women. There's so many great musicians that are women out there. And, good for her.
I couldn't agree more. And I also think that the fact that she is a woman helps look, no one's showing up at any of these Rush concerts expecting to see Rush with Neil Peart. We all know that Neil Peart passed away. So that's not going to happen. But the fact that it's not some dude on stage that is wearing a little hat. This is what my daughter said earlier today, Skylar, who's on the show a couple of weeks ago. She's like, the idea that it's not someone, when you look up there, you are not even for a second going to see someone that looks like Neil Peart. Right? It's going to look like Anika Nilles, and that I am certain that's not the reason they chose her, by the way. No. I don't want to imply that, but it certainly doesn't. It's a really nice icing on the cake that it's like, okay, it's just going to be different, and we're going to embrace that. But I agree with you. I'm expecting her to, for the most part, learn the parts that are the composed parts. There's certain Rush songs where the part probably has a little more freedom, and maybe she will be comfortable. She and they will be comfortable with her taking some freedoms at times. And I hope we get to see some of her in that in appropriate places. But I think for the most part, these are composed parts, and yeah.
Yeah, I hope they give her a YYZ solo where she gets to do her own thing and not do the exit stage left Neil Peart
Correct.
solo.
Correct.
Let her be creative. That's a great
Yep.
spot for her to just like, yeah.
I would imagine, given what her career has been thus far, which has basically been in bands that I think she created, writing songs that are like fusion stuff where the drums are a featured instrument. She is very used to being a featured drummer, which I think is kind of important if you're going to be playing in Rush.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, I hope I would expect that they would give her a moment to shine as her, as opposed to, thank you for playing all these songs that our friend wrote the drum parts for. You know, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think for the most part, it's going to be celebrated by Rush fans and by the rock community, and it's just great for rock music.
I couldn't agree more. I did not realize how sad I was that I couldn't go see Rush again. And I think I knew that when I saw them on the R40 tour in 2015, that it was likely the last time that Rush would tour. There was enough, writing on the walls that was like, Neil's kind of done. Neil's been done with touring for a while. But I think this is like, I think they've stretched this as long as they're going to stretch it. But I did expect that they would do residencies somewhere. In fact, my prediction was that they would do a residency in Los Angeles so that Neil could stay home and take his daughter to school in the morning and then go to work every night and do that. And I really truly expected that would happen. They would do a 5-night residency or something here or there every couple of years, and that would be great. And I would go to that. My son became a Rush fan because we went as a family to R40 and he exposed himself. I gave him the set list for the show so that he could learn and be familiar with the songs. I did that with my wife didn't need it because she's also a Rush fan, which is probably part of why we were married. But my son and daughter, I gave him the list so that they could listen. And my son really went deep. Like there are songs Rush songs that he knows better than me, and we can have like deep conversations about it. He is in his own right a Rush fan, separate from anything that I might bring to the table. And but that happened after R40, and I thought, okay, well, he's going off to college, and they'll do some residency somewhere. We'll have a father-son weekend, and I'll be able to take him, and we'll go to see a Rush show. 2 Rush fans that happen to be father and son. Like, this would be freaking amazing. Mm-hmm. And all of that was, and I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound selfish, but I'll just say it. All of that was taken away from me, right, when Neil passed away. Like, all of those possibilities just left the table. And obviously I understand how life works, and that was just a truth. But I don't think I ever really processed it. Like, when the news came out yesterday that they were doing this, and even when they reunited for like the Taylor Hawkins thing, or even the sort of kitschy they did Closer to the Heart with Matt from South Park at Red Rocks. They came out and did that. That happened before. And like, I sat on my couch and cried watching those things, tears of joy. Like, I get to see those guys play Rush songs again. And it was limited doses and without proper rehearsal. And it was like terrible renditions of Rush songs at all of those things. Like the Taylor Hawkins thing they weren't great, but still, I sat on my couch and just cried tears of joy. Yeah. And when this news came out yesterday, it was like the happiest day that I have had in a really long time. And I had that band rehearsal last night with Thriller. And I was driving home from the band rehearsal, and I thought, okay, well, maybe I want to do, like, obviously I'm going to go to Madison Square Garden at the very least. We'll go to possibly Toronto. These are, somewhat close to where I live-ish. But certainly Madison Square Garden, because that's the closest one. So I'll be there. So if you're there, like, let's definitely hang.
Yeah, dude. It's what, July next year, I think.
The Madison Square Garden is July. Yeah.
Yeah. And, that's definitely a possibility.
Good.
Definitely a possibility.
But then I started thinking, well, I had that dream of this father-son trip. So maybe we go to LA for the first show. Like that, I think it'd be cool, right? And then, of course, I thought, well, if we're going to go to the first show, we should go to the last one. And then I started thinking, Steve, I'm like, they're doing 12 shows.
Right.
I deserve a midlife crisis. And I have to give credit to my friend John McCormick for helping me formulate this. I've been saying all day, I don't want a Ferrari. I want to go to Rush shows. And he says, no. You don't want a Ferrari for your midlife crisis. You want a red Barchetta. And it's like, oh, yes, I do. And so I want to go to as many of these shows as I can in hopes of catching at least one red Barchetta. Because they said they're going to mix up the set list and from night to night. So, there is one show that I cannot go to because it would be the rehearsal dinner for my daughter's wedding that I would miss. So I will be choosing my daughter's wedding over that, which was something I needed to sit and think with for a moment. Like it's just the rehearsal dinner. Like I kind of just whatever. It's like it's going to be fine. I just come back and do the thing and then go back to Fort Worth. And I'm probably not going to do Mexico City, just because of logistics. I think, but otherwise, I might go to 10 of these shows, man.
Good for you.
And I'm okay with it. In fact, I'm really, really happy about it. I know it sounds crazy, but whatever.
It's not. I mean, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity here.
Maybe. I mean, it sounds like this is a test run for them, and if successful, they will do more. I don't know what more means, but I don't want to wait and find out. I mean, I do want to find out, but I don't want to hold back. So
right.
Yeah.
As long as they're around, I think they're going to want to play, and people are going to want to hear them. So.
Yeah. I mean, there is a risk to their legacy here, of course, right? Their legacy is currently cast in stone. Rush hasn't played a gig since 2015. Now they're reopening that. And I do think they are aware of their legacy. I also think, I don't want to say they don't care about their legacy, but it's pretty clear that they care more about having the opportunity to do this again than they do about preserving some legacy. And I love that.
Sure.
I love that. I love that.
As long as they're capable. I know Getty said that somebody else is going to be playing keyboards on some stuff.
Yep.
His voice, that's the one big concern, because the last times, Rush was playing it, he wasn't quite there with his voice, but he still has a very distinct voice, and he can work around it probably. He's a pro.
Yeah. That, to me, Anika is not the risk factor here. It's Getty's voice. And I think that's why they're not doing any shows back to back. And this is expensive for them. They are doing in Madison Square Garden, I think it's a Tuesday and a Thursday show. But what that means is they are renting out that venue for 3 nights and only drawing income for 2 of them.
Right.
Right. And they are doing that in every city that they're playing 2 nights, which is like 8 of the 10 cities or something like that.
Right.
Or 5 of the 7. Sorry. Yeah. So like that, this is, but they've already been rehearsing. I'm not sure. We'll just leave it at that. They've already been rehearsing.
Okay.
Which they've said. So, yes.
But definitely good news for the world of rock music.
Yeah.
For sure.
I love it. Yeah. Steve, thank you for coming on the show, my friend. This has been a blast. Thank you for indulging me in 10 minutes of Rush conversation, my friend.
Anytime.
Yeah,
thanks for having me, dude. I really, like I said, I love what you've been doing for so long, like 10 years at least, maybe more.
We're in. Wait, shoot! I think this is the 11th year of Gig Gab. We celebrated 10 years, earlier in the.
I was,
winter.
back on in 2016 for show 51. I was on, and 9 years ago, and then 5 years ago in 2000 for show 251. 251. So
I noticed that it was 51 and 251. Yeah. That's right.
So now 503, I think you said. And
503, correct.
Yeah. And it's an honor. I love what you do. I think you're the best at this out there for this community. You provide such a great service, and you do it so well. So thank you.
No, thank you. And the one thing we didn't really get to is just talking about our gigs. Actually, having
there's definitely a lot of things we didn't get to.
They're having a gig gab. So if you'd be open to it, I'd love to have you back and do a little bit of just gig gabbing, and other things too. We can talk about it. But it had been 5 years. I wanted to dig in, and plus you shared some really valuable insights here. So I'm stoked for that. So
yes.
yeah.
Thanks,
yeah, man.
Dave.
All right. There are 3 words that we say at the end of every episode. And when I say we, I would love it if you did that for us, Steve.
Yes, I think about it all the time when I'm on stage. I think always be performing.
Love that. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, Dave.
Folks, I'll put links in the show notes for Cover Band Central's page and website even. I think is there still a website? Maybe?
Sort of, yeah.
Sort of. All right. And I'll link to all the episodes that Steve's been on too. Thanks for listening, folks. Always be performing, and we'll see you next week with Mike Schulte, where we will be having a gig gab. See you then.